Okay, in this tutorial we're going to learn how to make a simple animation in Adobe Animate CC. It's going to be a pretty simple one, so we can start to learn about frames, the timeline, layers, and importing images or objects to the library. To prepare for this, I have a folder. This is going to be a car ad or a little card side show, so I made a folder called car ad. In there I have an images folder, and I have some prepared images I'm going to use. I have several car images and a background image that I'm going to use. Prepared, you can always adjust those ahead of time in Photoshop, changing the color, anything you can do in Photoshop, and prepare them and save them. You can resize them, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'm in Adobe Animate. I open that up down here, and I'm going to create a new HTML canvas. You can do HTML, you can do ActionScript. HTML is more for simple, lower quality ads for the web. I know this is only going to be viewed as an ad within a web page, and this format should be fine. When I open my new project, the first thing I should do is save this. File, Save As. I'm just going to call this car ad. And I'm going to find my folder and save it right here at this level. You should save it as a Animate document .fla. Animate used to be Flash, so that FLA file is from Flash, and save. Now that is your working document, so if I publish this and want to change it later, I would go back to the original working document, do the changes or edits, and then republish it. Okay, so this is Adobe Animate. We have our menu up here, just like most of the other Adobe software. We have a lot of windows over here, different functions. We have our main file window here. In this case, it's called a stage. And we have the toolbar. The toolbar opens up attached over here, but we can detach it and bring it over here to this side. It's up to you. I like to put the toolbar on this side, sort of like a Photoshop, InDesign, or Illustrator. And what we also have is a layer window and a timeline. Layers are just sort of like a Photoshop or Illustrator layer. And the timeline is much like a film, like a different frames of a film. So these are your different frames. Each individual box here is a frame. Think of it as a frame of a film. We start with a background white layer. So if I click on that, and I go to my properties panel, and I can change the basic properties of whatever is highlighted or selected out here. We have a frame rate for this movie or this animation of 24 frames per minute. I'm sorry, per second. We have the default size here. For this, I'm just going to make this one a little bit bigger. I'm going to make this one 1024 and a height of 768. There's some also advanced settings. If I want to change any of these, I can also change these here. Okay, there's my stage. I can zoom in, Command ++ or Control ++ on a PC, Command -- or Control -. If I'm zoomed in, I can hold the space bar down and move this file around. I can also scroll on the side or the bottom here. I'm going to zoom out, Command-, and let me zoom out one more time so I can see the whole screen. I can also resize the timeline, resize these windows over here. I can also detach these windows and move them around if I want. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is put a background image on layer 1. So I'm going to double click layer 1. I'm going to call this my background. You can call it whatever you want. I see by default it has one frame here. Oh, I'm going to go to, I have to insert my images in here. So I'm going to go to File, Import. I can import to the stage, which will import it directly to the file here, to the stage, or I can import it to a library. So I'm going to import it to my library. And so my desktop, car ad, images. I'm going to select all my images and open. Now if I look at my libraries panel up here, there's my images. I can click on my different images and see the little icon or a little thumbnail of those images. I can also rename these files ahead of time before I bring them in here so they're easier to find. Okay, the first image I'm going to drag out here is my background image, the background of my slider. I can position that wherever I want. I can resize it by coming over here to my free transform tool. The hotkey for that is Q. If I hold the shift key down, I can resize this and maintain the proportions. Or I can grab it and resize it and distort it. And if it may distort a little bit, but for this image I think it's okay. Now whatever is within that white stage is what is visible in my movie. Good. Now I want to make a new layer and bring my first car image out. So I'm going to click on this layer in my timeline, layer panel. Down here with this icon I can add a new layer. This is going to be my yellow car, so I can label this yellow car. And I'm going to bring that car out there. So let me find, there's my yellow car. I can drag that out here, place it, and resize it. Once again, if I'm on the move tool, I can go back to the direct selection tool. I can go to my free transform tool, hold the shift key down to maintain proportions, make that image a little bit bigger, and reposition it. Now, only problem is this video or this animation is just one frame, so I got to stretch out that timeline, make it a little bit longer. We have 20 frames per second, so if I want it to be like 6 seconds, I can figure that out. Or 10 seconds, it could be 240 frames. To find more frames over here, I can scroll down here at the bottom to 240. I can also come over here to my viewer and resize, so I'm looking at my frames from farther away or real close. Let me go farther away. Here's frame 240. And I'm on my background. And I want to repeat that background all the way across, so I can right click, insert frame. If I say insert frame, that's going to repeat that image all the way across. So now if I scroll down my video or my movie, I can see that background image is there all the time. Now I got to do the same thing for my car. So I'm going to that last frame. I'm going to right click, insert frame. That'll duplicate that car image all the way across. Good. Only problem is I don't really want this car image to be there right away. I want it to be like a half a second before it shows up. So I'm going around frame 12. I can also type frame 12 over here to go directly to exactly frame 12. I can click on that frame, right click, and insert a keyframe. The keyframe will let all the frames after that, or all the imagery after that, be different. So if I insert a keyframe, now I can make some changes on either side of this keyframe. I still see that car image is still there all the way across, but if I click on this side of the keyframe, if I highlight that, I can delete this car. But you see it's still on this side of that keyframe. All right? So that'll give me about half a second before that car pops into that slider show or that movie. Let me come over here, add my next layer. This one's going to be my blue car. And you see it automatically puts that same frame all the way across here. Right now there's nothing in there, so I can bring something out. But before I do that, I'm going to go over to about frame 24. I'm going to right click and insert a keyframe. With that keyframe, I can have something different on this side of that keyframe than I do on this side. This side I'm going to leave it blank. On this side, I'm going back to that keyframe. I'm going to bring in my blue car. There we are. Reposition it and resize it. I'm going to the corner on my free transform. I'm going to the corner and rotate a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Hold the shift key down. Grab that corner, make it a little bit larger. I want this to look like a series of photographs being stacked up. Good, and that one goes all the way across. Let me go back to this frame, this layer, add a new layer. I'm going to call this one silver car. I'm going to go about a second and a half, maybe a little more. Right click, insert keyframe. Remember that keyframe lets you do different content on either side. So on this keyframe, I'm going to insert my silver car and resize it and rotate it if I need to. Hold the shift key down to resize that corner. Maintains the proportion so it doesn't distort. Pretty good. Okay, click on this layer, add one more layer. This one's just going to be my car mountain. There's a mountain in the background. Good. I don't want this one to start till later on in this video. So I click here, right click, insert keyframe. Now I'm going to insert that final car. And I'm going to resize it and position it. There. Now if I scroll over this video, I can see my cars coming there one at a time. I can test this down here by playing it. It's not too bad. If that's a little too long, I think 10 seconds might be a little too long. I could select these layers individually at the end or drag all. Select one, hold the shift key down, select the top one, position my cursor anywhere, and I can move this in, make it a little bit shorter if I wanted to. Okay, so I got all those in there and they look like about the right speed. Now I want to add some text. So I'm going to go to my type tool. Before I add that, I'm going to make a new layer. Come down here to my layer, add a new layer. It's going to be my title, the main title text. I'm going to go to the frame I want to use. This one looks like I'm choosing around frame 80. Click there, right click, insert keyframe. There we go. Now I can add my text. I'm going to pull out a text box here. Click within there, getting ready to type. Now if I have a text box open, using my type tool, I can come here to my properties. I can make some changes here. I can change the font if I need to. I can change the style if I need to. I can change the font size. I can make this one a little bit bigger. I can change the letter spacing, color, things like that. The alignment, line spacing. There are some basic changes you can make. You can also create your text in Illustrator and bring that in here, or create it in Photoshop and bring that in here. You can even bring in Photoshop layers, so several different layers of text if I want. But for this project, we're going to work with a Animate text. Okay, I'm just going to do the name of the company here. I can make that text box a little bit bigger so it all fits on there. And position it in place. Now I could have a static text that's not moving right there, or I could bring that text in. I think I'm going to do that. I'm still in that first frame of the visible text. I'm bringing it above here. And I wanted to be able to animate in. Now in order to do that, I have to click anywhere out here where my car is visible on this title layer. I mean, not my car, but my text. That title text Mercedes is available. I can right click and create motion tween. Now what that will do is on that first frame, I position that text where I want it. And then I come in here a little bit and I move that text to where it's going to end up. And now you can see there's a path where that's going to animate in. Now there's a few more effects we can make with that animation. And we'll do some of that on some other projects. All right, let's add a slogan. I'm on my title layer. I'm adding a slogan. And once again, I don't want that to be there right away. I want it to come in here a little bit. So I'm going to right click on this frame, insert keyframe. Now I can insert my text. And I want this one to say the best or nothing. Okay, make that box a little bit bigger. I think that text is a little too big, so I'm going to highlight it, resize it over here in the properties panel. Bring that text down, that slogan size down. Bring that box in a little bit. I think I'm going to change the font to Arial, just a regular Arial, or maybe Helvetica. Yeah, Arial is good. And then position that. Well, I could leave it right there, make it static, or I can animate it in. I think I'm going to animate this one in from the right, have it slide in from the right. So this is the first frame where that text appears. I'm going to have it out off the screen here, off the stage. Right click anywhere within that area and say create motion tween. So now I can add some motion. I'm going to go to, half a second in here, or whatever, a second, and bring that text in. And you can see the path here. I could also rotate it, all kinds of other motions. But I think that's good for now. Now I can watch this animation. The images come up, then the text from the top, then the text from the side. So pretty cool. Well, I could also go back and animate an image. So let's see how we can animate this image. Let me go back to this image layer. Car mount, it's one in front of the mountain. I'm going to click over here in that where the car is visible, right click, create motion tween. And this says it's going to have to convert that image to a symbol. I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to the first frame where that car is visible. I'm going to take that out here somewhere. Or maybe over on this side. I'm going to my free transform. I'm going to rotate that. And then I'm going to go to where that car is now on my screen or my stage and in the correct place. I'm moving that over and I'm going to rotate it. So I can need to move it back down a little bit. There we are. So that can be my final position for that image. Let me check on that. See if the text fits in there good. Pretty good. I think I need to move that image up a little bit. Still on this frame. Let's move that image up a little bit. There we are. Test it out. Looks good. So I think that short ad or slideshow is pretty much done. So let me save this. File save. That's saving the original Flash version. Well, now I could play it down here, but I could also test it up here. Under Control, I could test the movie in the browser. Now this is HTML5 animation will be converted to. Save this HTML page and then previewed through an internet browser. So this type of animation would be ideal for the web. So let me go ahead and preview this in the browser. Take a minute. It's also saving some more files to our folder when we test it. And we'll look at that in a little bit. Okay, so there's my car ad ready for the net, for the internet. Pretty cool. Let's see what files were saved on our folder. Look back at my car ad. Saves JavaScript and an HTML, and the images are still in here. So it should keep everything together. There's my original car ad Flash file, my editable file. Usually when you export that image, Animate will give you output warnings, and it's just saying that some of these images were packed successfully into a sprite sheet. And we could add some code to make this stop or skip around if we wanted to. We'll do that in another project. It's saying it's going to convert my static text fields to dynamic, and motion tweens can also be done as frame by frame will be done as frame by frame animations. Okay, that's fine. Everything looks all right. So I'm going back to my timeline, and we already saved it, and it's ready to look at or use on the web. Publish it. Another way to export it is go through File, Export, and export it as a video or a movie. Export as a video, and export. That may take a couple minutes, and that'll export it as a video. Now I can open that video in QuickTime and convert it to a usable file that I could upload into YouTube or some other website. I can also export this as an animated GIF. Now that will simplify the colors to web-safe colors, but it's a very usable file, an animated GIF. That's through File, Export Images, and choose Animated GIF. Alright, so that concludes the tutorial on a simple Animate animation.